The unlikely hero. In the sprawling metropolis of Zircath, capital of the Galactic Confederation, Staff Sergeant Michael Chen felt like a fish out of water. As one of the few humans assigned to Earth's fledgling embassy on this alien world, he spent most of his days feeling overwhelmed by the sheer alienness of his surroundings. The city's impossible architecture of crystalline spires and gravity-defying bridges never ceased to amaze him, even after 6 months of service. Chen's job as a security officer was mostly uneventful, consisting of endless patrols and mind-numbing paperwork. But today, something felt different. The air hummed with an undercurrent of tension that set his nerves on edge. As he made his rounds through the embassy's lower levels, Chen overheard hushed voices speaking in the clicking, chirping language of the Zircathian elite. His universal translator, a marvel of human ingenuity that had taken decades to perfect, kicked in. The princess must be neutralized. Her radical ideas threaten the very fabric of our society. Chen froze, his heart racing. He recognized one of the voices as belonging to High Counselor Zixfra, a frequent visitor to the embassy. The other speaker was unfamiliar, but the gravity of their words chilled him to the bone. The Vespid mercenaries are in position. They will strike tonight, during the lunar festival. The chaos will provide perfect cover for her disappearance. Chen's mind reeled. They were talking about Princess Zyralith, the controversial young royal who had been making waves with her calls for greater cooperation with lesser species like humans. Her progressive views had earned her many enemies among the conservative Zircathian nobility. As the conspirators' footsteps faded, Chen leaned against the wall, trying to process what he just heard. He should report this to his superiors immediately, but a nagging doubt gnawed at him. What if they didn't believe him? Worse, what if some of them were in on the plot? The rational part of his brain screamed at him to follow protocol. But another voice, one that sounded suspiciously like his old drill sergeant, whispered, "Sometimes, son, you gotta cowboy up and do what's right, not what's easy." Before he could second-guess himself, Chen was moving. He slipped out of the embassy, using back alleys and service corridors to avoid the ever-present surveillance drones. His destination, the royal palace. As night fell and the first of Zircath's 3 moons rose, the city exploded into a riot of color and sound. The lunar festival was in full swing, with revelers of a dozen different species flooding the streets. Chen used the chaos to his advantage, blending into the crowd as he made his way towards the palace's towering gates. Getting inside wouldn't be easy. The palace defenses were state-of-the-art, designed to repel everything from assassins to full-scale invasions. But Chen had an ace up his sleeve, or rather, in his pocket. He pulled out a small device, no larger than a coin. It was a prototype chameleon circuit, capable of fooling most sensor systems into perceiving whatever the user desired. The human engineers back on Earth had been ecstatic when they'd cracked the code on Zircathian sensor technology. Chen just hoped it worked as advertised. Taking a deep breath, he activated the device and strode purposefully towards a side entrance. His heart pounded as he approached the guards, a pair of hulking Zircathians with iridescent scales and wickedly sharp claws. But to his amazement, they barely glanced at him as he passed. Once inside, Chen's real challenge began. The palace was a labyrinth of twisting corridors and grand halls, each more opulent than the last. He had no idea where to find the princess, and time was running out. As if in answer to his silent plea, a commotion erupted from a nearby chamber. Chen heard raised voices, one of which he recognized as Princess Zyralith's from her public broadcasts. "I will not be silenced," she shouted. "The people deserve to know the truth about." Her words were cut off by a muffled cry. Chen burst into action, sprinting towards the sound. He rounded a corner just in time to see a group of insectoid figures, the Vespid mercenaries, dragging a struggling form towards a waiting hover transport. Without thinking, Chen charged. He may have been outnumbered and outgunned, but he had the element of surprise on his side. And more importantly, He had the righteous anger of someone who'd seen too much injustice in the galaxy and was sick and tired of standing by. The first Vespid went down hard, caught off guard by Chen's flying tackle. The second managed to draw its weapon, a wicked-looking energy pistol, but Chen was faster. He disarmed the mercenary with a textbook joint lock, using the alien's own momentum to send it crashing into its comrades. In the chaos that followed, Chen managed to grab the princess and make a break for it. Zyralith, to her credit, didn't hesitate. She matched him stride for stride as they raced through the palace halls, alarms blaring in their wake. "Who are you?" she demanded as they ran. "Why are you helping me?" Chen flashed her a grin that was equal parts adrenaline and gallows humor. "Staff Sergeant Michael Chen, Human Embassy. And I'm helping because it's the right thing to do, Your Highness." Zyralith's multifaceted eyes widened in surprise. "A human? But why would you risk everything for me?" Before Chen could answer, an energy bolt sizzled past his ear. The Vespids had regrouped and were in hot pursuit. "Less talking, more running," he shouted, pulling the princess down a side passage. They emerged onto a grand balcony overlooking the city. The lunar festival was in full swing below, the streets packed with revelers oblivious to the drama unfolding above. Chen's mind raced, searching for a way out. His eyes landed on a pair of personal flight packs used by the palace staff for maintenance. It was crazy, bordering on suicidal, but they were out of options. "Ever been skydiving, Your Highness?" he asked, grabbing the packs. Zyralith's mandibles clicked in what Chen assumed was the Zircathian equivalent of a nervous laugh. "I don't even know what that means." "Well, you're about to find out." Chen strapped her into one of the packs, quickly showing her the basics. "Just follow my lead and try not to scream too much." With the Vespids closing in, Chen activated both packs and launched them off the balcony. As they plummeted towards the glittering cityscape below, the wind whipping past them, Chen couldn't help but let out a whoop of exhilaration. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain: life was about to get a whole lot more interesting for Staff Sergeant Michael Chen. Daring rescue. The cityscape of Zircath rushed up to meet them as Michael Chen and Princess Zyralith plummeted through the night sky. The lunar festival's kaleidoscope of lights blurred beneath them, a dizzying array of colors that seemed to pulse in time with Chen's racing heart. "Pull up," Chen shouted over the howling wind. He demonstrated the maneuver, praying that the princess's alien physiology could manage the necessary movements. To his relief, Zyralith mimicked him perfectly, her slender form arcing gracefully as they leveled out mere meters above the oblivious revelers. They weaved through the city's towering spires, the pursuit sirens fading behind them. Chen's mind raced, trying to formulate a plan. They couldn't keep flying forever, and every second increased the risk of detection. "We need to disappear," he muttered, more to himself than to the princess. Zyralith's multifaceted eyes glimmered with an idea. "The Undercity," she chittered. "It's a maze of abandoned tunnels and forgotten infrastructure. Even our best trackers struggle there." Chen nodded, impressed. It seemed the princess was more than just a political figurehead. They angled downward, aiming for a gap in the glittering surface of Zircath's upper levels. As they descended, the opulence of the capital gave way to grime and shadows. They landed hard in a narrow alley, the impact jarring Chen's bones. He quickly helped Zyralith out of her flight pack, noting with admiration that she seemed unfazed by their harrowing escape. "Your Highness," he began, but she cut him off with a quick gesture. "Please, call me Zyra. I think we're a bit beyond titles at this point, don't you?" Her mandibles clicked in what Chen was beginning to recognize as a wry smile. He couldn't help but grin back. "Fair enough. I'm Michael, then. Now, we need tow." A distant screech interrupted him, followed by the sound of leathery wings. The Vespid mercenaries were closing in. "This way," Zyra hissed, grabbing Chen's hand and pulling him deeper into the Undercity. They ran through a labyrinth of corroded metal and crumbling stone, the remnants of ancient Zircathian civilizations long forgotten by the glittering elites above. Chen marveled at the princess's sure-footed navigation of the treacherous terrain. It was clear she'd spent time down here before, though he couldn't imagine why. As they paused to catch their breath in a cavernous chamber filled with humming machinery, Chen finally voiced the question that had been burning in his mind. "Why are they after you, Zira? I mean, I know you've been pushing for reforms, but kidnapping? That seems extreme, even for politics." Zira's antennae drooped slightly, a gesture Chen interpreted as sadness or regret. "It's not just about reforms, Michael. I've discovered something that could change everything. The very foundations of our society, our place in the galaxy. It's all built on a lie." Before she could elaborate, a metallic clang echoed through the chamber. Chen's hand flew to his sidearm, a standard-issue human plasma pistol that felt woefully inadequate in the face of alien threats. Well, a silky voice purred from the shadows. "What have we here?" A lost little princess and her pet monkey. A figure emerged from behind a massive coolant tank, moving with a liquid grace that set Chen's nerves on edge. It was a Shadowkin, a race of near-legendary assassins known for their chameleonic abilities and deadly precision. "HFY Lara," Zira growled, her normally melodious voice dropping to a dangerous register. "I should have known my uncle would send his favorite killer." The Shadowkin assassin's skin rippled, shifting through a spectrum of colors before settling on a deep, threatening crimson. Now, Your Highness, is that any way to greet an old friend? I'm simply here to escort you home." Chen stepped forward, placing himself between Zira and the assassin. "Sorry, but the princess isn't going anywhere with you." Lara's eyes, black as the void between stars, fixed on Chen with predatory interest. "And who might you be, little human? Some sort of bodyguard? I'm afraid you're a bit out of your depth here." "He's with me," Zira declared, her voice ringing with authority. "And we're leaving. Now." The Shadowkin's laughter was like shattered glass. "Oh, I don't think so. You see, I have my orders. And unlike some, I'm quite loyal to the crown." Everything happened in a blur. HFY Lara moved with impossible speed, a blade materializing in her hand as she lunged for Zira. But Chen was ready. Years of training kicked in, his body moving on pure instinct. He met the assassin's charge, using her momentum to flip her over his shoulder. HFY Lara landed with cap-like grace, but Chen pressed his advantage. He knew he couldn't match her speed or strength, but he had something she didn't: unpredictability. Human martial arts were virtually unknown in this part of the galaxy. Chen used every trick in his arsenal, blending styles in a way that kept the Shadowkin off balance. Jabs, kicks, and grapples flowed together in a deadly dance. Zira didn't stand idle. She darted around the periphery of the fight, using her knowledge of the machinery to create distractions. Bursts of steam and showers of sparks erupted at crucial moments, disrupting HFY Lara's attacks. But the Shadowkin was a professional. She adapted quickly, her form shimmering and changing to match the environment. Chen found himself fighting a constantly shifting opponent. One moment humanoid, the next a writhing mass of tentacles, then something that defied description. A lucky strike sent Chen sprawling, his back slamming against a corroded pipe. HFY Lara loomed over him, her blade poised for a killing blow. "Any last words, monkey?" Chen grinned through bloody teeth. "Yeah. Look up." The assassin's eyes widened a fraction too late. Zira, who had climbed to a higher vantage point during the fight, dropped down on HFY Lara with all the force her alien physiology could muster. The impact sent both of them tumbling. Chen scrambled to his feet, ready to rejoin the fray, but it was unnecessary. Zira stood over the unconscious form of the Shadowkin, breathing heavily but unarmed. "Remind me never to get on your bad side," Chen quipped, impressed. Zira's mandibles clicked in amusement. "I may be a princess, but I'm not helpless. Now come on, we need to move. Where there's one assassin, there will be more." As they made their way deeper into the Undercity, Chen's respect for the alien princess grew. She was nothing like the pampered royals he imagined. There was a strength in her, a fire that burned bright, even in the depths of this mechanical underworld. So, he ventured as they navigated a particularly treacherous section of collapsed tunnels. What's this big secret that's got everyone so worked up? Must be something pretty major to warrant all this. Zyra was silent for a long moment, her antennae twitching thoughtfully. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do you know about the Great Cataclysm, Michael?" Chen frowned, recalling his briefings on Zircathian history. "The event that nearly wiped out your civilization 1,000 years ago." "Not much. Just that it's the reason your people are so isolationist now." Zyra nodded. "That's the official story. But I found evidence that suggests the cataclysm wasn't a natural disaster at all. It was engineered by my own ancestors to consolidate their power and eliminate rival species." Chen felt a chill run down his spine. If true, this revelation could shatter the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. No wonder they wanted to silence her. But that's not all. Zyra continued, her voice gaining intensity. "The technology they used. Michael, I think it's still out there. Hidden away, but still active. And if it falls into the wrong hands..." She didn't need to finish the thought. Chen understood the implications all too well. They weren't just running for Zyra's life now. They were racing to prevent another potential cataclysm. As they emerged into a vast underground cavern, lit by bioluminescent fungi that cast an eerie glow over ancient ruins, Chen made a decision. He had started this mission to save a princess. Now, it seemed, he was committed to saving much more than that. "All right," he said, squaring his shoulders. "Where do we start?" Zyra's eyes gleamed with a mixture of hope and determination. "We need to find the archives of the Forgotten. It's an ancient repository of knowledge, hidden away after the cataclysm. The location has been lost for centuries. But I found clues." A distant rumble interrupted her, followed by the sound of multiple footsteps echoing through the tunnels behind them. "Sounds like we got company," Chen muttered, checking his weapon. "Want to fill me in on those clues as we run?" Zyra nodded, her antennae quivering with excitement despite the danger. "Hope you're ready for a crash course in xenorchaeology, Michael. This is where things get really interesting." As they plunged deeper into the unknown depths of the Undercity, Chen couldn't help but marvel at the strange turn his life had taken. He had signed up to guard an embassy, and now he was on a quest to uncover ancient alien secrets and prevent galactic catastrophe. All in a day's work for a human in a universe that was turning out to be far more complex and far more exciting than he had ever imagined. Unlikely allies. The Undercity of Zircath was a maze of shadows and forgotten technology, but Michael Chen moved through it with growing confidence. Beside him, Princess Zuralith kept pace, her alien grace a stark contrast to the grime and decay surrounding them. "So this contact of yours," Zyra chittered softly, her antennae twitching with curiosity. "Can we trust them?" Chen's face broke into a wry grin. Trust might be a strong word, but if there's anyone in this city who can help us stay off the grid and get the word out, it's Rex. As they turned a corner, the tunnel opened up into a vast chamber that hummed with activity. Makeshift stalls and workshops lined the walls, filled with a dizzying array of alien species. The air was thick with the smell of exotic foods and the crackle of jury-rigged electronics. "Welcome to the Nexus," Chen announced, gesturing to the underground bazaar. "It's a haven for outcasts, rebels, and anyone else who doesn't quite fit into the Zircathian idea of a perfect society." Zyra's multifaceted eyes widened as she took in the scene. "I had no idea this existed right beneath our feet. It's incredible." They made their way through the crowded market, drawing curious glances from the eclectic mix of aliens. Chen kept a protective hand near his weapon, acutely aware of the valuable and controversial knowledge they now carried. At the far end of the chamber, they came to a stop before a shop front that looked like it had been cobbled together from a dozen different spacecraft. A flickering neon sign in multiple languages proclaimed, "Rex's Emporium of the Impossible." Chen rapped on the door in a specific pattern. After a moment, it slid open with a hiss of hydraulics, revealing a dimly lit interior crammed with gadgets and gizmos from across the galaxy. "Chen, my boy," a booming voice called out, "what kind of trouble have you gotten yourself into this time?" The speaker emerged from behind a towering pile of equipment. Rex was a Galzeri, a species known for their mechanical aptitude and complete lack of social graces. He resembled nothing so much as a 2-meter-tall praying mantis with an extra set of arms, each ending in delicate, multi-jointed fingers. Rex's compound eyes fixed on Zira, and he let out a low whistle. Well, when you go for trouble, you don't mess around, do you? That's the princess, isn't it?" Chen nodded grimly. "Rex, we need your help. Things are complicated." Over the next hour, Chen and Zira took turns explaining the situation, the assassination attempt, the archive, and the terrible truth about the reality forge. Rex listened in uncharacteristic silence, his antennae twitching occasionally as he processed the information. When they finished, the Galzeri let out a long, low buzz that Chen recognized as a sigh. "You kids sure know how to liven up a dull day." "All right, I'm in. What do you need?" "Communications, for starters," Chen said. "We need to get the word out, but in a way that can't be traced or blocked by the government." Rex's mandibles clicked in what passed for a grin. "Oh, I've got just the thing. Been working on a quantum entanglement broadcaster. It'll let you send messages instantly across the galaxy, no interception possible." As Rex bustled about, gathering equipment, Zira turned to Chen with a quizzical expression. "Michael, how do you know a Galzeri inventor in the depths of Zirkath?" Chen chuckled. "Let's just say my duties at the embassy sometimes required unconventional solutions. Rex has been a valuable resource." "Resource? You wound me, Shen," Rex called out from behind a teetering stack of machinery. "I thought we were friends." As they bantered, a series of rapid beeps emanated from a console near the shop's entrance. Rex scuttled over, his jovial demeanor instantly replaced by focused intensity. "We've got company," he hissed. "Looks like a Zirkathian security sweep. They're doing a block-by-block search of the Nexus." Chen's hand went to his weapon. "How long do we have?" 10 minutes, maybe less," Rex replied, already moving to a hidden panel in the wall. "This way. I've got a bolt hole that should keep you safe until they pass." As they hurried through the secret passage, Zira's voice was tight with concern. "They're searching the entire Nexus. But that would mean your uncle's influence runs deeper than we thought," Chen finished grimly. "He's got the underworld on his payroll, too." The bolt hole turned out to be a cramped room, barely large enough for the three of them, filled with humming machines that Chen couldn't begin to identify. As Rex sealed the entrance, the distant sound of shouting and breaking glass filtered through. "So," Rex chittered, his compound eyes gleaming in the dim light, "while we wait, why don't you tell me more about this reality forge? Sounds like my kind of impossible." As Zira began to explain, Chen found his mind racing. They needed a plan, and fast. Getting the truth out was important, but it wouldn't mean much if they were captured or killed before anyone could act on it. "We need more allies," he mused aloud, interrupting Zira's explanation. "Rex, you've got connections throughout the underworld. Are there any other groups who might be sympathetic to our cause? Anyone with the resources to help us stay ahead of Zixra's forces?" Rex's antennae twitched thoughtfully. "Well, there's the Collective. They're a loose alliance of non-Zirkathian species who've been pushing for more rights and representation. Your story about the Cataclysm would certainly interest them." Zira's mandibles clicked excitedly. "The Collective. I've heard whispers about them, but I never knew if they really existed." "Oh, they exist all right," Rex confirmed. And they've got cells on every major world in Zircathian space. Getting you in touch with them won't be easy, but—" He trailed off, his attention caught by one of the machines in the room. Its display was pulsing with an urgent red light. "Oh," Rex muttered, his fingers flying over the controls. "Looks like your uncle's boys in blue found my quantum entanglement prototype. If they crack its security, they could trace any messages we send." Chen finished, his heart sinking. "We need a new plan." Zyra's eyes suddenly lit up with an idea. "Wait. The archive showed us more than just the truth about the cataclysm. It showed us the location of caches of ancient Zircathian technology, hidden away after the disaster." Chen caught on immediately. "If we could get our hands on some of that tech, we'd have a fighting chance against whatever your uncle throws at us." Rex finished, his mandibles clicking excitedly. A loud bang from outside made them all jump. The security forces were getting closer. "All right," Chen said, his military training kicking in as he formulated a plan. "Rex, can you create a diversion? Something to draw the security forces away while we make a run for it." The Galzeri's eyes gleamed with mischievous intent. "Oh, I think I can manage that. I've got a few prototypes that have been itching for a field test." "Good. Once we're clear, we'll head for the nearest cache of ancient tech. Zyra, you'll need to guide us." The princess nodded, her antennae quivering with determination. "I can do that. The archive's knowledge, it's like a map in my mind. I can feel the pull of the hidden caches." As Rex prepared his diversion, Chen took a moment to check his weapon and assess their meager supplies. The odds were stacked against them: a human, an alien princess, and an eccentric inventor against the full might of the Zircathian government and their underworld allies. But as he looked at Zyra, seeing the fire of determination in her alien eyes, and at Rex, whose brilliant mind was already concocting outlandish plans, Chen felt a surge of hope. They were an unlikely team, but sometimes those were the ones that changed history. "All right," he said, a grin spreading across his face despite the danger. "Let's go make some noise." Rex threw open the bolt hole's door, unleashing a swarm of floating, beeping devices that immediately scattered in all directions. Alarms blared, and shouts of confusion echoed through the nexus. As they sprinted out into the chaos, Chen couldn't help but laugh. It was insane, it was dangerous, and it was probably going to get them all killed or worse. But it was also the most alive he'd felt in years. Together, this unlikely band of allies plunged into the unknown, ready to challenge the very foundations of galactic society. The hunt for the ancient Zircathian caches was on, and with it, the fate of countless worlds hung in the balance. The revolution, it seemed, had begun in earnest. A new era begins. The ancient Zircathian cache loomed before them, a massive structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Michael Chen, Princess Ziralith, and their unlikely ally Rex, the Galzeri inventor, stood at its entrance, their bodies tense with anticipation and exhaustion. "Well," Chen said, wiping sweat from his brow, "I guess this is it. You sure you can get us in, Zyra?" The alien princess nodded, her antennae quivering with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "The knowledge from the archive. It's like a key in my mind. I can feel the cache responding to my presence." As if on cue, the massive doors began to slide open with a low, resonant hum. The trio stepped inside, and Chen felt his breath catch in his throat. The interior was a vast chamber filled with technology beyond his wildest imagination. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing star maps and schematics for devices that could reshape reality itself. By the great hive, Rex chittered, his compound eyes wide with wonder. This changes everything." Zyra moved through the cache with purpose, her fingers dancing over control panels as she accessed the ancient systems. "It's all here," she breathed. "The truth about the cataclysm, the capabilities of the reality forge, and, wait, what's this?" A massive hologram sprang to life in the center of the chamber, showing a detailed map of the galaxy. Hundreds of points of light pulsed in sync, each representing a hidden cache, like the one they stood in. "There are more?" Chen asked, his mind reeling at the implications. Zyra nodded, her voice filled with awe. "Hundreds, all connected, all waiting to be awakened. Our ancestors, they left us the means to undo their great mistake." Before they could fully process this revelation, alarms blared throughout the cache. Rex scuttled to a nearby console, his movements frantic. "We've got company," he shouted. "Looks like the whole Zircathian fleet is bearing down on our location. Your uncle's pulled out all the stops, kids." Chen's military training kicked in. "Can we use any of this tech to defend ourselves?" Zyra's mandibles clicked in frustration. "Maybe, but it would take time to figure out how to operate it safely. Time we don't have." As the situation seemed most dire, a new voice crackled over the cached communication system. "Attention Zircathian forces. This is Admiral Jorak of the Collective. Stand down immediately or face the consequences." Chen, Zyra, and Rex exchanged looks of disbelief. The Collective, the loose alliance of non-Zircathian species they had only dared hope might help them, had arrived in force. Outside the cache, a massive space battle erupted. The Zircathian fleet, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the Collective Armada, found itself outmatched and outmaneuvered. "Now's our chance," Chen said, his mind racing. "Zyra, can you use the cache to broadcast the truth? Not just to Zircath, but to every world in the galaxy." The princess nodded, her fingers already flying over the controls. "With this network of caches, we can send the message instantaneously. Every species, every world. They'll all know the truth at once." As Zyra worked, Chen turned to Rex. "Think you can figure out how to lower this cache defenses? We need to show the Collective we're on their side." The Galzeri inventor chittered excitedly. "Oh, I've been dying to get my hands on this system. Give me 2 minutes." What followed was a whirlwind of activity. Zyra composed a message detailing the true history of the cataclysm, the existence of the reality forge, and the network of caches that could usher in a new era of galactic cooperation. Chen coordinated with the Collective forces, using his diplomatic skills to negotiate a ceasefire with the confused and demoralized Zircathian fleet. And Rex, true to his word, not only lowered the cache defenses but managed to activate its long-dormant energy shields, protecting them from the battle raging outside. As Zyra's finger hovered over the button that would broadcast the truth to the entire galaxy, she hesitated. "Michael," she said softly, "are we doing the right thing? This will change everything. My people, we'll lose our position of power." Chen placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, a gesture that would have been unthinkable just days ago. "We're giving the galaxy a chance at real peace, Zyra. Your people won't be rulers anymore, but they can be partners. Isn't that worth fighting for?" Zyra's alien features softened into a smile. "You're right. For a primitive species, you humans have some pretty profound insights." With that, she pressed the button. Across the galaxy, on countless worlds and space stations, the message began to play. The truth, hidden for millennia, was finally revealed. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. On Zircath, citizens poured into the streets, demanding answers from their leaders. The Collective forces, bolstered by the revelation, pressed their advantage, forcing the Zircathian fleet into full retreat. In the following days, as the dust settled, Chen found himself thrust into the role of mediator between the Zircathians and the Collective. His unique position as a human, an outsider to both groups, made him an ideal neutral party. Zyra, for her part, became the face of a new Zircath. She renounced her royal title and called for the formation of a truly democratic government, one that would represent all species living within Zircathian space. Rex, to no one's surprise, dove headfirst into studying the ancient caches. His brilliant mind, combined with the rediscovered technology, promised advances that would benefit all galactic species. Months passed, and the galaxy slowly adjusted to its new reality. The Zircathian Empire, once the unchallenged power in the region, was dissolved. In its place, a new alliance began to form, one based on mutual cooperation and shared knowledge. As Chen stood on a balcony overlooking the capital city of Zircath, now a bustling metropolis where dozens of species mingled freely, he felt a presence beside him. Zira joined him, her eyes taking in the changed skyline. "You know," she said, her voice tinged with amusement, "when I first met you, I thought you were just another primitive human. I never imagined you'd end up changing the course of galactic history." Chen laughed. "To be fair, I never imagined I'd be friends with an alien princess turned revolutionary leader. I guess we've both come a long way." As they stood there, watching the sun set on a new era, Chen reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. A human and an alien, from vastly different worlds, had found common ground and together sparked a revolution that reshaped the galaxy. It was a testament to the power of understanding, of looking beyond surface differences to see the common hopes and dreams that united all sentient beings, and it was proof that sometimes the most unlikely allies could achieve the impossible. As night fell and the stars came out, each one now a potential friend rather than an unknown threat, Chen felt a sense of profound optimism for the future. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and humanity, along with countless other species, was ready to explore it together. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning.